Welcome in. It's the second cut. It's Friday morning. For me, it's barely Friday afternoon for Gregors. And round two is coming to a conclusion in Scotland. Greg DuCharme, it is good to see you, my friend.
Oh, it is good to see you too, Rick. A little different schedule than normal. And I have to ask, how was your coffee this morning?
Oh, it just hit, just that little sip, that little, just sipping your coffee, watching Rory, watching Scotty, watching Ludvig. It just hits a little bit differently this time of year.
And I got to say, watching this, when I think of golf in Scotland, there are two scenarios that can happen. One is it's raining, it's pouring rain, right? And it's just nasty. This was not that, but it is the other version of Scotland, right? Everything's brown. The ball's rolling along the ground. The announcers are talking at a nice and slow pace and just kind of chuckling about the players making their mistakes or hitting great shots. It all sounds the same, which is phenomenal.
Yes. First off, the European announcers barely talk, which is I love that. Just let it breathe. And when they do, it's like, oh, well, he's hit another one. What a shame. Like it's whatever. But you're right. I mean, this golf course. So it has been a beautiful summer's week so far, and the sun has been out. The wind has been mostly down. The good news for scoring, if you like more difficult scoring, is what you said, Greg. This is firm and fast, my brother. I mean, you can see the big difference between the brown fairways, the green on the putting surface, which is obviously getting watered more frequently, but that ball will not stop rolling.
No, and it's creating quite a bit of difficulty. I think also when you look at the stat profiles, what has been important this week, it's very different than what we typically see in the U.S. A little more driver putter seems to be kind of the combo, more so than your approach play. And I think it's really hard for some of these guys who you're used to being able to turn it on by just, it's time to just go stuff a couple of approach shots in there. And that's not really in the cards. So you got to play a little different style, which has been quite fun to watch.
The fairways look so tight to me. Have you noticed that?
Yes. Well, the grass is tight.
Oh my God.
And they're also not easy to hit.
No, they're not. And then when you go over the green and you're just seeing if it's going to stop in like that little, so there's like the green, the fringe / fairway, the rough, like bobbly stuff, and then the fescue. It's like, is it going to stop before it gets to the long stuff or not? Like, I love it. It's like, I don't know. It's very suspenseful.
Yeah. And you can even hear, this is my favorite thing about it. You can hear this on the mics when the players have an iron in their hand and they drop it on the ground and it's that thump.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like the ground is hollow. It's got that thump to it, which if you've ever played a golf course where the greens are really firm and it's a good, well-built greens and you drop your putter on it, it makes that hollow thump. One of my favorite sounds in sports. And we're hearing it this week.
Did I hear them say when this land, I don't know if it was originally designated to be a golf course, but they started, I guess, removing some trees and they found there was sand underneath there. And they were like, oh, wait a minute. We should stop what we're doing because this is like as good as it gets if we're going to build a golf course here. And they eventually kind of changed the plans and went and made a golf course out of it.
It turned into links. I don't know what it was originally either. But I did hear that they kind of discovered the proper soil, which makes sense because it's right in the middle of probably the best stretch of links golf in the world.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a surprise.
One after another.
Yeah, really is true. Just like go to Google Maps and zoom out. It's like every world-class golf course in the world is right there.
Yeah, I can't imagine flying up that coast.
Oh my God.
Because whenever I look out the window at an airplane, I see a golf course.
Yes.
Flying there would be insane.
We've got a lot to talk about. What do you want to do? Do you want to talk about the round of the day first? Do you want to talk about the guys on the outside of the cut line or the guys at the top of the leaderboard? You get to pick. I'll take you anywhere you want.
Well, we have, I think let's go right to the top because that round of the day and top of the leaderboard are one and the same today.
the Venn diagram is a perfect circle for those two, thanks to Chris Gotterup, a round of 61 that is 9 under par around the Renaissance Club. It was bogey free out in 29, and Chris Gotterup is not only the man with the round of the day, but he is going to hold a multiple shot lead going into the weekend. Greg, this is I don't want to say it's been coming, because I don't know if I necessarily thought that he was going to be the 36-hole leader, but Chris Gotterup has played absolutely splendid golf over the course of the last couple of months.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed about him, because look, he caught my attention in 2022 at the U.S. Open at the Country Club. He was a really, kind of nobody knew who he was, and I watched him a little bit and was very impressed. When he got out to the PGA Tour, he really struggled with the driver, and he has prodigious length, but really struggled controlling it for the early part of his career. And he was in this like 48%, hitting like 48% of the fairways. And he fortunately won in Myrtle Beach to keep his card, but that was it. And now he started to really gain control of the driver. And you look at the stats this week, he's hit 11 to 26 fairways. He hit 7 to 13 fairways today, but he keeps it tight. He's not losing control. He's missing fairways because he's hitting it 350 and it bounces into the rough a step. So this driver has become a true weapon, and it's kind of unlocked some of that potential for him. It doesn't hurt when you add on 140 feet of putts made on a day like this. That's how you get on to 59 watch. And quite frankly, I mean, he really could have broken 60 today.
Well, he turned in 29 on the harder side. And then the back plays a stroke easier. He did not take advantage of 16, which is the par 5, or a couple of other scoring opportunities. So yeah, that was there are a lot of 59 watches that are not legit 59 watches. When he was turned in 29 and birdie 10, he's on it in a big way.
Yes. I mean, 29, it's easy to think, oh, well, he's only got to shoot 5 under on the back. That's not a real 59 watch yet. Even at 7 under through 10, to stretch. But when he made birdie at 13 and 14, he gets to 9 under through 14. He's got to make 2 birdies and 4 holes. Very, very reasonable to do. Maybe after 13, 3 and 5 holes. Now you start getting to the point where I really consider a 59 watch legitimate. He was on it, especially 2 and 4 holes with a par 5 being one of them. That becomes very realistic, very doable. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get it done, but he did put himself in, like you said, Rick, a multiple shot lead through 36 holes.
Well, we talked about this a lot on Tuesday, and we've talked about it a lot of weeks with Chris Gotterup, because he has this stretch of golf where he's finished between 12th and 26th in basically every single event for the last couple of months. A lot of them, however, Greg, no offense, are Myrtle Beach, Punta Cana, Byron Nelson. They have gotten better recently. U.S. Open, he finished T23, Detroit T26, and the John Deere T21. What are we going to learn about Chris Gotterup this weekend? Because I think the answer is a lot.
Yes, a lot. And one, there's a lot of guys in the mix. But 2, like the guys that are in tied 6th, which is 7 under par, he's 4 shots clear of those guys. So there's a very good opportunity for him to go ahead and stretch this. But in that stretch, Rick, we haven't seen him really contend. We haven't had cameras on him watching him over the weekend, regardless of who he's playing against. I would say the same thing if it was like last week at the John Deere Classic, or if it was probably an opposite field event would be an exception, because you don't have quite the attention. But any other event, this is where you learn, because now you're expected to do something. You have a multiple shot lead. You're in control of the tournament, and you got 36 holes to try to keep it together. It's a stressful time, and it's a position I don't think he's ever been in, even though he's won before on the PGA Tour.
Speaking of positions that they've never been in, despite winning on the PGA Tour. That would also apply to Mr. Harry Hall, who is the closest chaser to Chris Gotterup. 2 shots back, 9 under, thanks to rounds of 67 and 64. A little bit of a rocky start, parring the first, bogeying the second today, but he erased that and plenty more, rattling off 4 consecutive birdies, and then another stretch of birdies on 14, 15, 16. Did all of his damage on those 2 stretches, and now Harry Hall is going to be in that final group come Saturday afternoon.
You know what I like about these stretches too is this is where the par 5s and drivable par 4 is on the front 9. So he gets 3, which is a nice bounce back. That's a par 5. Then he gets 4. Now you've got 2 in a row heading into a drivable par 4. He gets that and then stuffs it at 6. You know, that's a really nice stretch. It's a really nice time to hit some high quality shots because you develop all that momentum. Then 14, 15, hit some really good shots, hold some nice putts heading into the last par 5 of the day on 16. That's how you get the streak going. And it was pretty cool to see because like this has been surprisingly, if you're a Harry Hall fan, you think that he's going to be near the top of the leaderboard because of the putter. But that is not the case. You know, he's 50th in strokes gained putting right now. There's a lot left in the tank for him. So it was nice to see him hit some high quality shots that led to these birdie streaks, but also kind of hang on the other holes and avoid making any squares past number 2.
A lot of what I said about Chris Gotterup, we could rewind the tape and play it back, and I could say it about Harry Hall. And that is what I'm referring to, a stretch of really good golf recently where we've seen a lot of solid finishes. I mean, his last 6 alone, 20th in Myrtle Beach, 19th at the PGA Championship, 6th at the Charles Schwab, 24th in Canada, 9th at the Travelers, 13th at the Rocket. So that is 6 consecutive top 25 finishes with some big events, a major, a signature event along the way. He is starting to find his stride and mature as a professional golfer.
And we had expectations of this heading into this year, Rick. I mean, his iron play was starting to look a whole lot better. And combining that with his ability on the greens, he's been a favorite of ours for quite some time now. And while the finishes have been nice, he still hasn't garnered the kind of respect to be a top name player heading into a week like this. Now you head into the weekend, and also for Harry Hall, a rather new spot. You know, he's not in the final group very often on the PGA Tour. There are very few guys that are, so it's nothing against him, but this is a place where you can learn a lot about Harry Hall. One other funny thing on him. Somebody asked me on Twitter, is Harry Hall a reasonable one and done play? And I said, well, yeah, but I'd prefer. Fortunately, I said Matt Fitzpatrick.
Okay, at least you didn't say it, like Colin Morikawa.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh. So it's just funny to see him way up there. My apologies. Hopefully you went with Matt Fitzpatrick. I think I also said Adam Scott, who looks like he's going to make the cut, but nowhere near where Harry Hall is.
Well, listen, it's also the halfway point. So
yes,
I've seen a lot of leaderboard gravity in my day. Harry Hall is 3 times a winner, twice on the Korn Ferry, once on the PGA Tour, the ISCO last year. So maybe this is the week for him. Maybe he only wins the second week of July every year.
It's not a bad time for it.
Not a bad time for it. Just get the schedule right. Yeah, that would be very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's zoom out for a second and look at the leaderboard, Mina, because there is a very important question that not only I have to ask, but Colby has to ask as we zoom out on this board here. So we've got Chris Gotterup at 11 under par, Harry Hall at 9 under, and a trio of golfers at 8 under. Ludvig, Matt Fitzpatrick, and Marco, I believe it's pronounced Penge is how he's pronounced. Penge is how he is pronouncing that. I ask you, Greg, what's the real lead? No, Mina. She jumped the gun. She got excited. That is not the question I'm asking, Greg. I'm asking Greg, what's the real lead?
Similar storylines, but I think this is no disrespect to Chris Gotterup or Harry Hall. But if I'm, sitting somewhere inside this cut line a ways back, like Scotty Scheffler, or, if I'm somebody like that, I think 8 under is a really good number to be chasing. Like if I'm Scotty Scheffler at 5 under, if I can track down Ludvig and Fitzpatrick, I really like where I'm sitting. And I just think there will be some leaderboard gravity with Gotterup and Hall. Now those guys are ahead of 8 under, so they will likely still be in the mix heading into Sunday. But I think that pack at 8 under par is what I'm looking at as the real lead, which includes Gotterup and Hall. I just think you see this thing bunch up tomorrow heading into Sunday.
Well, let's zoom in on Ludvig's round of 65 that he just wrapped up a few moments ago, and it was bookended by bogeys. In fact, Ludvig put bogeys on the card at 1, 2, and 18. This was probably a pretty bad round, Greg. Au contraire, it was a stellar round because he erased all of those front 9 bogeys by the time he got off the 5th green. He added a birdie on 7. He got him in pairs at 10, 11, 13, and 14, and a birdie on 16 to shoot one of the better rounds of the day, a 65. It moves him up 11 spots, and Ludvig sits at 8 under par currently in a tie for 3rd.
All 3 par 5s. You got the drivable par 4 5th. He took advantage of that as well. Throw in a 2 there at number 14. Ludvig did a great job handling the holes he should have handled today, which was phenomenal. But also, I just love seeing this after making bogey at 1 and 2. It's like, okay, Ludvig played pretty well yesterday, right? He shoots 3 under. He's in the mix. Bogeys at 1 and 2. Here we go again. Now we're thinking he's going to make a move and get in contention, and now we're going to be flirting with the cut line all day again for this guy. Like, what is going on? But he said, no, thank you, and just went crazy. Ludvig Aberg is a really scary player when he's making 165 feet of putts. And when he's gaining 3 shots to the, nearly 4 shots to the field with the flat stick alone, he is a really scary player because the driver is a weapon, very similar to Chris Gotterup, who's leading the way. His iron play, I think, is it's got a little left to be desired. But he is still plenty capable, especially on long iron shots. He hit 16 of 18 greens today. And then when you fill it up the way he did on the greens, that's when Ludvig can kind of get a little swagger going, a little confidence going. And now his name takes a totally different position on this leaderboard.
Yeah, really a big move from, just like you said, 63 yesterday. So 3 under par. Bogey's his first 2. It's like, oh, this again. Nope. Now not worrying about the cut line, worrying about contention, which is fun for Ludvig. The other big name there at 8 under par is Matt Fitzpatrick. And Greg, this was one of the better rounds of the day. A 7 under 63. It was bogey free, and Fitzy has started. It's been a while, and the bar has been rather low, but Fitzy started to put it together here in recent weeks, and now this is this is easily the best chance he's had that I can remember. I mean, this is go time.
Yes, I was pretty high on Fitzy this week. In fact, he was my golfer of the week.
You know what? And I want to give you your proper flowers here because I was warm on Fitzpatrick. I think when we had our conversation, I got hot on Fitzpatrick. I laddered him. So I bet him to win top 5, top 10, top 20. And I'm going to see how many of those I can survive this weekend. But I'll send you your commission if he goes on and wins this thing.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. But yesterday I was a little worried because I've been seeing him start to figure things out with the golf swing. It started with the driver. He starts putting together a couple nice weeks off the tee. Then all of a sudden you start seeing some really nice approach weeks mix in there. It's like, okay, this guy's feeling something with the golf swing and has a tendency of putting really well here at the Renaissance Club. So then yesterday he goes out and hits 9 greens in regulation. I'm like, oh, gee, what, I got way too hot and heavy too early. But he answered today. and he answered the bell in a big way. He hit 17 of 18 greens. He was second in proximity to the hole. Not a lot of guys shot low rounds because of approach play here at the Genesis, which I find pretty interesting. You got to fill it up on the greens, and he did a lot of his work with the iron play. He beat the field with his iron play, and he putted really nicely on top of it. So this was the Matt Fitzpatrick that I expected coming into this week. We didn't see it in round one. Fortunately, we did in round two, and he was able to move up significantly on the board.
Yeah, it was 46 spots to move into that tie for third. I'm going to circle us back, Mina, to the superstars and the notables in just 1 second, but I want to go down to the cut line and outside of the cut line. So late round survival from Justin Thomas and Robert McIntyre. Greg, they were both able to get this thing in at 1 under, which is going to be the score for the cut. It's going to be a sizable cut. 80 golfers are going to make it to the weekend. So JT and Robert averted disaster, but that is not the position that they would want to be in through 36.
No, it's a little disappointing. It's great for JT to go make birdie at 18 to make the cut, shoot 70 on the second day and get in, because it was sloppy early. He really struggled on that front nine with bogeys at 1 and 6 and 7. Added another bogey at 17, but it just seems like golf seems hard for Justin Thomas right now, and you got to be really precise in these firm and fast conditions. So challenging for him. For Robert McIntyre, it's a big deal, right? You're the defending champion in your home country. It's probably the most significant amount of recognition that he's ever had in his entire career. And so that's a big deal. So you understand it's a different pressure for Bobby Mack this week. And he played really nicely yesterday with a 68. Today, it just was hard for him to get it close. He really struggled hitting a lot of tee shots to the left, couldn't get it in play, could never get going with any kind of momentum. Makes double at 13. You think he's done. He's going home, but he battles back strong with birdies on both the par threes, 14 and 17, to make the cut on the number. So good for him.
Yeah, good for him indeed. Robert McIntyre was the most popular one and done selection by a mile. He was one of the more popular DFS plays as well. Not returning you a whole lot for the moment, but better than nothing, literally. Colin Morikawa, on the other hand, returned you nothing. After an opening round of 68, 2 under par, shot a 76, one of the worst rounds of the day at the Renaissance Club, and it started bad and didn't get much better. He bogeyed 1, he bogeyed 7, and then he made 5 bogeys on the back 9, including each of the par 5s. Morikawa is going to finish in a tie for 124th, so not an immediate set of returns from Billy Foster being on the bag.
Well, I was thinking in part, and I liked Colin Morikawa to play better this week. I thought that he was hitting the ball well enough for that. He had putted well here in the past. Things have been pretty good for Colin Morikawa. I thought that they were better than he made them seem. If he didn't do any media, like he's threatened before, if he didn't do any media at all, I think we'd think things are in pretty good order.
Yeah, he should take himself up on that threat.
Right. But he had 37 putts in round 2. I know we don't usually look at that as total putts as a good indicator of how someone is putting, but there is no way to slice it. 37 putts is way too many. I don't remember. It's not very often I see a number like that. He had more putts than he had feet of putts made. He made 34 feet of putts today.
So that means he made putts that were shorter than a foot.
His average putt made on every hole was less than a foot. That's hard to do.
No, his average putt, not average putts made, right? because that would have been 18, 34 divided by 18. But at his average number of putts per feet, though, would have still been, yes. That's still an insane number.
Yeah. I think, I've got the math wrong. I've got the equation wrong. But yes, brutally poor.
What is, quick detour here. What is the least amount of feet of putt made you think you've ever seen?
Like 31.
Okay, I think we have a record today. And I'm going to have to go back and look at this because maybe he chipped in or holed out from off the green a couple times. Victor Perez made 14 feet 7 inches of putts.
Okay, so that is less than a foot a hole.
Correct. Now, he lost 3 strokes putting, which that squares up. But if you go that low, I assume he also probably holed out a couple of times. So I will have to.
What was his strokes gain around the green? Do you have that in front of you?
2 plus 2.4.
Yeah.
So
he
I'm
must
thinking
have made a few from off the green. Because Morikawa didn't. He was 0 for 5 scrambling.
I'm going to pull it up right here while I'm looking at it. Okay, so number of putts.
I've never seen that low.
What's today? Second round putts. Okay, yes. So number 3, the par 5, he made something from off the green. But that's it.
Wow.
That is it. So here are his putts. This is insane. His long, oh my God. Okay. Here is the putts that Victor Perez made. And I want to get what he actually did on hole number.
By the way, let me just say too, he's in a tie for 12.
Okay, he shot even par, which is nuts.
Yeah.
This whole thing doesn't make any sense. So here's what he did. Hole number 1, 2 inches. Hole 2, 6 inches. Hole 3, he holed out from 84 feet off the fairway. So I don't know if he chipped it in or putted it in, but he holed out. So that's a 0 putt. 1 foot, 1 inch, 3 feet, 1 inch, 2 inch, 8 inches, 2.4 inches, 2 inches. Here's his longest putt he made all day. 3 feet, 4 inches, 7 inches, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 foot, 3 inches, 6 inches, 4 inches, 3 inches.
He had 3 putts of 1 inch.
He had as many.
Oh my God.
Yes.
2 of 2 inches,
which you couldn't even
3 of 2 inches.
You couldn't even do that if you tried.
No, that first putt is like pretty high quality.
Isn't that the most amazing thing you've ever seen?
I have never seen anything like that.
Yeah, and he shot a 70. It was like a fine round.
I like to come up with stats with putting. Like he made 6 putts outside of 11 feet. Okay, he made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 putts outside of 1 foot. That's it.
I could have made like every putt that he made today. Like if they lined me up in those spots, I mean, I guess the 3 foot 4 inch one would give me trouble, I suppose. But
I was gonna say I don't think you could miss the putts that he made today. Like I think that your grandmother could make those putts.
Come on, Granny. We got to get you out of these screens.
And I really shouldn't say that, but anybody could make those putts. Literally anybody.
It's unbelievable. I was so excited when I saw that. So I wanted to make sure I brought it up.
And he's in 12th.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. The notables. And the notables are lurking. Rory McIlroy. You heard of him? 7 under par thanks to rounds of 68 and 65. It was it has been really a putting clinic. He's 7th in the field in strokes gained putting, over 5 strokes for the week. A lot of damage done on the second 9, his first 9 on Friday to shoot this 65.
He hit the ball really well on that side as well. And he was able to capitalize on a lot of those high quality iron shots he hit. I thought his distance control, the control of his ball flight was really high quality. He was also playing from the fairway. So he hit 4 of those 7 fairways. He was in really good position. When he made the turn to the more challenging front 9, he hit a couple of wild tee shots and didn't quite get his driver in play as much. And as a result, he missed a number of greens on his back 9. And so things just kind of got, he wasn't able to keep the momentum going. A lot of that had to do with the difficulty of the golf course. He probably is a little disappointed about a 3-footer that he missed at number 8 for par. But other than that, this was a really, really good round of golf for Rory.
Yeah, so he's going to be 4 shots off the lead, 1 off of that potential real lead at 8 under par, and he's one of the favorites. We'll get to that in a second. Scotty Scheffler, how about this? 5 under, so he's just ho-hum 67, 68 around the Renaissance Club. Nothing special, nothing horrible, but lurking as per usual.
Yeah, this was like frustrated Scotty. We saw today. He was really frustrated, really upset with his performance on the greens. Now, just to give you an idea here, he gained 0.163 strokes putting today in just round 2. But he made, which is one of the things that I love about Scotty Scheffler, is he made a 50-footer. After, this was on number 13. He makes it from 50 feet. He missed a 9.5-footer at number 11, and then he missed a 7-footer at, I guess, an 8-footer at number 12. Had 2 really good looks for birdie there, missed them both, and then just drops a 50-footer. But that one stroke, that one putt from 50 feet gained him over 1 full shot. So, aside from that putt, it was a pretty poor day on the greens for Scotty. I think that's why you saw some frustration. But all in all, this is what Scotty does. He doesn't have to be at his best, and he's still lurking.
He is still lurking. Sorry, you said so many great things that have sent me on a rabbit hole. Did you see that Corey Connors almost aced a par 4 today?
Incredible.
So
I was a little worried about him.
346 yards to 2 feet, which, by the way, Corey Connors makes an ace monthly on the PGA Tour. He
really does.
He almost did it again today. That shot alone, I just looked it up, 1.79 strokes gained off the tee, which, if I remember correctly, is right around, which would make sense, that Dustin Johnson drive at Kapalua that one year.
At number 12,
where it bounces all the way down there, 400 something yards, and looks like it's going to go in
or something. Yes.
Yeah.
Which is cool. You have that opportunity here. Like, there were some because it's so firm and fast. You get a little downwind, it can go forever.
Oh,
we saw some. Yeah, like you're seeing 375-yard drive. Chris Gotterup hit some right down the middle, like 368. It's like, geez.
These guys are good. The Schauffele sandwich is where we'll finish up, because right in between Rory McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler sits Xander, rounds of 68 and 66. So if you're paying attention, that's 6 under par, 2 blemishes on the card. But Greg, I think the best sign for Xander is that he is ripping the cover off the ball. 3 strokes off the tee, that's 5th. 3.8 on approach, that's 12th. He's actually lost 2 strokes putting this week. It has been a little bit of a lost year for the X-Man. Chance to finish strong in this campaign.
It led the field today in driving accuracy. And he hit average 336 off the tee. That's a scary combination. He was second today alone in strokes gained approach. Hit 16 of 18 greens. This has been such a strange thing for him. He is, in his entire career, he's essentially been a top 10 putter on the PGA Tour. He's as consistent a putter as anybody else. I mean, you can look at the Denny McCarthy's of the world. Xander is right up there with those guys. He's that good. This year has been a totally different story, and it's continued this week. he had looking at more numbers, he had 32 putts and made 33 feet 8 inches of putts, double what Victor Perez did. Still brutally low. I mean, he stuffed it in there all day long and could not get anything to fall. So normally I would look at this and say, oh, Xander's going to win this tournament. But because the putter has been a struggle all year, I'm not quite as confident that there's going to be a turnaround over the next 2 days.
Well, if you think Xander's going to win the golf tournament, he is 18-1. He is not our favorite or really anywhere near it, because if we look at the leaderboard with the odds that Mina has put up there, we can see that Chris Gotterup, believe it or not, Chris Gotterup leads the way, according to our friends in Las Vegas, 4-1 or 4.5-1, depending on where you are looking. Rory McIlroy, who is 4 shots back, is 6-1. Harry Hall and Ludvig are 8 and 8.5-1. Scotty Scheffler 9-1. Everybody else is longer than that. Fitzy's at 10-1. Now, Greg, I have a question to ask you, because we know 11 under is the lead. We know 8 under is the real lead. We know that the cut was massive at 80 golfers at 1 under. So now, Greg, I ask you a question, and it goes, how far back is too far back? How far back is too far back?
That's a really good question. Well, I have to say that it is not 5 under. We have Scotty Scheffler sitting at 5 under. 6 back, that's not too far back. I think the 4s, I think that's a little bit of a stretch.
Because of the guys who are ahead of them.
Because, right, you got Scheffler, McIlroy, Schauffele ahead of you, and everybody else who's, you got Nick Taylor and Matt Fitzpatrick and Marco Penge and Chris Gotterup and Harry Hall. That list goes on and on and on. Sepp Straka.
And no offense to the 4s, but it's not a murderer's row of 4 unders. Michael Kim, Richard Mansell, Taylor Pendrith, Daniel Brown, Christopher Reeton. Nice round today. Ryan Fox, Sam Bairstow, Tom Kim, Aaron Rai, Nico Echeverria, Marcel Siem. So it's not like a murderer's row of 4 unders.
No, although Tom Kim might be just a links specialist.
Apparently.
I guess so. But I would say 4 under is too far back. 5 under is not, although that is heavily swayed by world number 1.
I think there's 2 things that have my interest. Xander Schauffele at 18-1, I think, is too long. He might be the 2nd or 3rd best player in the world when he's healthy. Like, I just think that's too long.
It's too long.
The other one that has me interested is Nick Taylor is 30-1. Nick Taylor is 7 under. So right there with Rory. And we're getting a very Nick Taylor-esque profile, which is really good ball striking, really good putting. We've talked about this before. He's very difficult to shake when he's in the mix. He's won big time events before. 30-1's a little long for him.
I have him without Scheffler, Schauffele, and McIlroy at 60.
Whoa!
I believe on the card on our grid this week.
I can confirm that, but I believe that sounds correct.
I think I had he and Hovland, who's too far back. He's at 2 under. Fortunately made the cut, but too far back. And I think it was Nick Taylor.
It is.
And this is the reason why, like what you just said. And now it's kind of happening. It's 4 back, a little farther than I'd like, but very much in the mix with just 5 guys in front of him.
Sorry,
it's a good spot to be.
There it is, 60-1 on the right-hand side in the middle. Without Scotty, Xander, Rory. And you know what? Doesn't it feel good because they're all in the mix? Sometimes you do that, like, and it would be like without Colin, without Justin Thomas, without Robert McIntyre. And you'd be like, well, that stinks.
Yeah, I didn't need that. I'm just helping out the books.
Right. Exactly.
But I like having that because he could come in 3rd and that could win because those guys are in the mix.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. To snap off a 60 on the grid would probably be the best grid result ever.
I think so. Partly because I usually don't go that long.
Yeah, we're not really see, the way the grid works is we're not super incentivized to go very long.
No, we just try to get them green. This is make it green. We don't want to see red.
The other thing is, for everybody who's like, oh, Greg only picked Scotty Scheffler to win.
Yeah.
If you just pick up a 60-1 Nick Taylor and Scotty wins, that would actually be kind of sick too.
We could put all that to bed. All that to bed.
I love it. Okay. Anything else that we missed from a rousing first 2 rounds in Scotland?
I think there's going to be a lot more to get into on Sunday, Rick. I'm looking forward to it.
You're darn right there is. And that's exactly when we will be back Sunday. I've got some other commitments. So probably like a half hour or so after the final putt drops, I think is probably realistic. But we'll keep you updated as we move on. Producer Mina does all the hard work behind the scenes. That's Greg DuCharme. I'm Rick Gehman. This has been The Second Cut. We'll catch you next time.